All mainstream and social media content is designed to distract you from one thing. Whether it's Trump and the Iran war,
yeah, no shit, Sherlock,
or Israel committing genocide in Gaza,
no way,
or mass immigration and the Muslim invasion of the West,
what the hell did you just say?
Or the great noticing that Jewish supremacists are always the ones behind every element of the controlled demolition of the West.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Or the pedestalization and enabling of toxic femininity.
I'm sorry, what?
Or the demonization and dehumanization of straight white men.
Correct. Thank you.
Or the brewing civil war between the woke Marxist left and the Christian Zionist right.
Two cheeks of the same ass.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Or the fracture between the Christian Zionist right and the nativist traditional right.
That's a good point. You've got a good point.
Or Hollywood's girl boss and race-swapping obsession.
Cut.
Or the manosphere's obsession with looks-maxing.
You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
All of it is nothing but a distraction, or more accurately a misdirection, from the one thing the powers that be really don't want you to notice.
That's crazy.
And what's that? Well, in the style of all good storytelling,
Bitch, please.
Show, don't tell.
Oh, I see.
Instead of telling you what the powers that be don't want you to notice, I'm going to show you.
Omar listening.
Over the last few years, we've watched drones transform the modern battlefield. Cheap, unmanned aircraft are forcing militaries to rethink how wars are fought. Now imagine a weapon designed for the battlefield that doesn't fire a bullet, it doesn't launch a missile, and doesn't need an explosive projectile to hit its targets. Instead, it fires concentrated energy, traveling at the speed of light. That's the promise behind directed energy weapons. Using powerful lasers, high-power microwaves, and radio frequency beams. These systems are designed to disable, damage, or destroy a target almost instantly. This idea is not new. The US began researching directed energy in the 1960s, and the military has been chasing this technology for decades. From President Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative in the 1980s, better known as Star Wars.
If you'll pardon my stealing a film line, the Force is with us.
To an ambitious airborne laser program in the 1900s, which modified a Boeing 747 with the goal of shooting ballistic missiles right out of the sky. For decades, the problem was practicality. The technology was too large, too expensive, and too difficult to deploy. But that is all changing. Today's directed energy weapons are becoming smaller, more powerful, and increasingly practical for ships, vehicles, aircrafts, and battlefield defense. Their appeal is obvious. No endless rounds of ammunition, no multi-million-dollar interceptor missiles. Instead, they use electricity. Each shot costs a fraction of a conventional missile and travels at the speed of light. The US is not alone. Foreign militaries, including Russia, China, Israel, and the UK, are also developing, testing, and fielding directed energy systems. But this is not just a story about a new weapon. It's a story about the future of warfare and a technology which can change the economics of battlefield defense. And can the Pentagon deploy them fast enough? And can industry build them at the scale modern warfare demands? Despite these questions, directed energy weapons are the future. Are the rules of war ready for weapons that are nearly invisible, incredibly fast, and increasingly difficult to defend against? Joining me now is Major Glenn Ignazio, a retired Air Force Special Operations Commander, national security expert, and defense technology innovator who has worked with Lockheed Martin and other defense tech companies. Glenn, I'm going to call you Major if that's okay. Welcome to the podcast. It's always good to see you. I want to start with the basics. When we say directed energy weapons, what are we talking about? What is it?
All right, there's two types of systems. Okay, so there's lasers, which I think most people are familiar with, and then basically like microwave or RF radiation. Basically, very intense microwaves. Basically, you can't see it, radio signals, so forth. That does jamming. Lasers do a lot of damage. Actually, they both do a lot of damage. But those are the two. And actually, laser. A lot of people don't know it is actually an acronym. It stands for light amplified by a stimulated emission of radiation. A little geeky, but that's what it actually stands for.
Oh, I love geeky. That's so interesting. That's a good note. I'm going to keep that in mind. When we talk about this technology, and you're very well informed in this space, you have said this changes the game based on the speed of light. That sounds like something from a movie. What did you mean by that?
Okay, so say the fastest projectile we have, which is from like a rail gun, but I won't get into that, goes about 8,000 feet per second. That's about 1.5 miles per second. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. So imagine the difference of a bullet, taking into consideration wind and all this other stuff, to just the speed of light. Imagine your flashlight, you can point it at a missile and boom, it's gone. That's the speed, that's the intensity that most people don't even imagine.
That is mind-boggling. So how is pointing a laser or microwave system at a drone, let's say, different from shooting it down with a bullet or a missile?
Sure. So again, that bullet, for the time that it takes to get to something that's moving very fast, there's a lot of math, a lot of calculations, wind, all these different things you have to take in consideration, even the rotation of Earth if it's very far away, right? So there's a lot of things. With a laser, since it moves so fast at the speed of light, or even the RF, the microwave, does the same thing, moves at the speed of light, it's like we were talking about, it's like putting a flashlight on a target and just pointing it around. So it's so intense, so fast, it's basically immediate. The difficulty part is detecting it and be able to track it.
Okay, so there again, it's no informed consent. Right, this is close with Morrison's. All right, I won't get your face in it, but we've just done your sister, haven't we?
Yeah.
Just tried the magnet test on your sister. Doesn't stick to any part of the body except the injection site.
I knew it.
I told you so. So there you go, that proves it again, that you are a victim of the nanometer antenna.
Don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself, okay?
But we can help you.
Yeah.
All right, we can help you both.
Got to record this and not recording. Doesn't stick. But there. That's where he had the shot.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That's where he had the COVID shot.
Impossible.
What, are you retarded?
Let's try it again. Won't stick. There. That's where he had the shot.
What is wrong with you people? Huh?
The magnet. This is the arm I got. The thighs are shot in. And there it is.
Come closer.
Stick into my arm. That's where I got the shot. And here's the magnet on the arm I didn't get the shot. You go figure it out. We're chipped. We're all fucked.
Correct.
So that the laser can be put on a point that is very delicate so that the device, whatever it may be, is destroyed.
I understand why militaries around the world would be interested in this. Explain to me what has changed with size, power, cooling, and mobility.
Sure. So lasers basically can be operated in 3 different ways, or created in 3 different ways. It can be used by using chemicals, using gas, or what we call solid state, which is power supplies, electronics and everything, which is really the way that we do it now. And it makes it a lot smaller. So the difference about this is, again, you can get multiple targets. And the other thing is we were talking about, say, THAAD, the missile system that goes and hits the drones and the missiles and everything. It costs $8 million a shot. When you're talking about a laser, you could be talking about 30 cents, $1 to shoot one pulse of laser against a drone that could be $100,000, $85,000 or more. So that, what they call that deep magazine, means you can keep on firing it. It's not like you're going to run out of bullets, but you got to have the power and so forth. But it has the ability to be incredibly cost effective than what we're doing right now.
Major, I want to talk a bit on how we got here. Earlier in the podcast, I mentioned that airborne laser, a giant 747 built to shoot down missiles. What did that program prove, but also what did it fail to solve?
Sure. Actually, it was supposed to work on it. It was pretty cool. So Boeing used a giant 747 that you're familiar with in the airlines, and Lockheed was going to be integrating the laser on it. And so this was, I would say, around the end of the 90s. I think it first flew in about 2007, but it was a chemical laser. And so we were talking about chemicals. The entire bottom of the 747 was filled with chemicals to be able to launch a laser while this 747 was airborne to hit ballistic missiles. Okay. It actually test fired. It worked pretty well. And based on the altitude and all these things would depend on how far away it could hit. So what the failure was again, it was very cumbersome. These chemicals were very dangerous and it would take a lot to fill it up. So you're basically flying like a liquid bomb. But at the same time, the deployment time, you literally would have to keep this aircraft airborne in a battle area almost continuously for a long period of time to be able to hit a ballistic missile as necessary. And then we've just had advancements with the missiles and so forth since then, and the lasers. So great premise. I would say it was a great development moving forward, but it was just not operationally viable. And they finally decommissioned it around 2012. I think it was finished up.
When you think about that, obviously the system is massive. The 747, how did we get from that to weapons that can now fit on ships, cars, or even smaller aircrafts?
Yeah, just the development of technology. So again, using chemicals or gas or whatever, very intense, very powerful, but we've gotten to what we call the solid state. So it's the advancement of technology has been significant to where we can literally use it very quickly, use power supplies like large computers, lack for a better term, just trying to explain to your viewers. It's using all electronics and so forth and lenses to be able to make a laser operate at enough power to damage a adversary or a threat. So it's the advancement of technology. And again, those were the stepping stones even way back in the 80s, late 80s, all the way to present day and just the advancements of what we've gotten to.
As you and I talk about this sounds great for our government to have.
What did you say? What the did you just say?
This sounds great for our government to have.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
But then what fills me with fear is that other governments are working on this as well. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So other governments. So Israel actually has something operational right now.
Note the lack of surprise. We're now at a stage where we're putting in what's called 5G, which is a special type of broadcast for high-density information transfers. And it turns out that this is the same frequency bands that are used in crowd dispersal weaponry.
.5G, first and foremost, is densification. So it's significantly more transmitters in close proximity to a human, and it is also a sophisticated, illegal, unlawful transmitter. What I mean by that is it is a high gain dielectric lens antenna, and what that allows 5G transmitters to do is to 3D map its environment in your home.
What?
The 868 megahertz frequency is specific for battlefield interrogation systems, so sub-gigahertz. It allows the signal to travel through concrete brickwork with ease, and it can actually data gather. It is a target acquiring system. Phased array is basically radar off the battlefield. It is extremely good at identifying targets and being able to lock onto targets. And not only that, it can specifically target you as an individual.
Flashback.
That's where I got the shot. And here's the magnet on the arm. I didn't get the shot. You go figure it out. We're chipped. We're all fucked.
So any judge sitting on an interesting case, let's say, any lawyer, any barrister, anybody doing any work that is potentially controversial, your life could be at threat. So the antenna design that you currently have on top of these LED streetlights, masquerading as a control management system, it basically battlefield interrogation equipment. The first phased array unit was actually called Mammoth, used by the Germans during the Second World War to identify Allied aircraft. Obviously things have moved on significantly since then.
Well, I joined the Royal Navy in 1960, and I specialised in microwave warfare. Radar, obviously, which uses microwave, but they don't just teach you radar, they teach you all about microwaves and other uses. So I understood about microwave warfare and how it can damage people, how it can harm people. Microwaves then were used as weapons, as they are today. It is a perfect stealth weapon, and when governments don't like a group of people, for instance, the ladies who protest at Greenham Common in England about the American missile base they camped, they were microwaved. We microwaved Catholics in Northern Ireland to make them sick. It goes on all over the world, and it's a weapon that you don't know you're being targeted because the dose is very, very low, which is actually more dangerous than a high dose. It's very, very low, and it may take a year or two, but you can cause neurological damage and cancers with low-level microwaves, and you can make all your opponents sick. It's a perfect weapon for a government.
Flashback. This sounds great for our government to have.
This sounds great for our government to have. This sounds great for our government to have.
Are you retarded?
Worries about overpopulation are back.
We need to address much more aggressively the population part of the equation.
If we keep ignoring this exponential population rise, nature will reduce human population for us.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
I'm trying to work out whether she is mentally retarded or just maliciously slow.
I came across articles that showed that the key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
After much research, I found a way that we could decrease our global population by 1.6 billion people in the next decade.
Bitch, are you dumb?
Pardon me?
Are you dumb?
I think she's dumb. I think she's dumb. Are you, like medically speaking?
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
What the?
Can you say that again? Just the way you said it.
New vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Ah, you motherfucker!
I mean, the population's going to have to stop growing at some point, so why not stop now? Instead of wishing that some invention or technology will save us that doesn't even exist yet and we're not even sure works. So for everyone to have quality of life, the number of humans on Earth needs to go down. And I believe that it needs to go down to 2 billion people.
I'm starting to think almost 98% of women are retarded.
The negative impact of population growth on all of our planetary ecosystems is becoming appallingly evident.
You're a cunt? You are. Now, 11 billion people, still a lot, but the good news is that the faster we improve health, the faster family size goes down.
And lastly, let's be part of the solution. and choose from now on to bring forth no more than one child ourselves. Thank you.
Absolute cunt.
By now, if you're fortunate enough to have two eyes set in front of a functional brain, which is in turn flanked by a set of working ears, you've figured out that the one thing the powers that be don't want you to notice is that they plan on murdering a few billion of us. The ruling elite have a hard-on for depopulation.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
The thought of killing billions of what they call useless eaters makes their pussies wet.
Oh my god, that is so gross.
The most powerful weapon they have is the cognitive dissonance that occurs in the mind of someone who hears what you have just heard.
Meaning?
Because if it is true that the richest, most powerful people in the world are planning on killing billions of people in order to remake the world in their image, where the humans that are left are reduced to a slave class that exists only to serve the ruling elites.
Please! Please! No!
Then the entire American dream of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is a bunch of bullshit.
That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
I told you so.
And your personal dreams of settling down and raising a family, or of having a successful career, or of traveling the world, or of being an artist are equally empty and hollow.
These ain't opinions. These are facts.
This means that when you hear the truth about the depopulation agenda of the ruling elites,
Nope, 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 stop talking, go to jail.
Your brain is offered the choice to accept this terrifying, painful truth.
Oh my God, stop talking.
Or to reject it as conspiracy theory and return to the ultimate comfort zone of living in denial.
You bitch.
The purpose of the rest of this video is to provide you with enough hard evidence that your cognitive dissonance does not catapult you into the padded cell of denial.
Damn!
But rather that your mind awakens to the truth of your reality and activates your soul.
That's what I'm talking about!
So that you become a warrior of human freedom who refuses to let their light be extinguished by the forces of darkness.
If you've followed me, you'll know I over 30 years in research in the pharmaceutical industry and biotech. I trained in toxicology and I worked with colleagues designing experimental molecules that we hoped would become medicines. That gives me the credentials to stand, as it were, in the shoes of the designers of these vaccines and answer the question, what were you thinking when you made these design decisions? Now, you can go and watch any of my interviews, but I'll cut to the chase. And you may not believe it, but I am sure, not slightly, but sure, these materials were designed intentionally to harm, maim, and kill, and to reduce human fertility.
Can you say that again? Just the way you said it.
These materials were designed intentionally to harm, maim, and kill, and to reduce human fertility.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago.
That is my verdict. And I can stand it up. I will be in court, Supreme Court in Costa Rica very shortly. And I'll be using exactly this argument, but I will give the detail. That's the first point. So don't take these injectables. Don't take the next lot either. They will also be designed to harm you all mRNA-based materials are dangerous. Don't take them.
Absolutely fucking not.
And it's very clear now that why on earth did they do this? I mean, I have no idea.
We know.
Kill them! Kill them all!
Because from the very beginning, these vaccines were not vaccines, particularly the ones that ended up after AstraZeneca with all the clots and they were shut down. But the messenger RNA vaccines of Pfizer and Moderna have caused unbelievable problems and damage to people, and I don't think we will ever really be able to get over that. I mean, the whole concept I challenged from day one. I said, right from the beginning, this virus escaped from the laboratory. It has 6 inserts that could only have been put in manually. My peers said, well, this can occur randomly. I said, no, once, but not 6 times. This has been interfered with. And the most important thing, we said that the vaccine was 80% homologous to humans, so it was bound to cause major side effects. Now, why did everybody go along with it?
We know.
Kill them! Kill them all!
I mean, we informed everybody, the government, through the Five Eyes process, that this would happen, but everybody ignored it. So why did this happen? And now we know that it's even worse than that the vaccines the quality control was appalling. They changed the mechanism of manufacture between the trial and the rollout to about 6 billion people. This thing was full of contaminants. It was full of sequences that can actually get into your genome. And my big concern is that a lot of them explain why that a couple of years into this epidemic, we still have massive excess deaths. Excess deaths in Australia, New Zealand, and everywhere. And a lot of these now are due to cancer. And that's basically what I want to discuss here. The red flags are so enormous. Why has the government not banned these vaccines immediately?
We know.
Kill them! Kill them all!
For a start, COVID doesn't exist anymore. And if it does, it doesn't kill anybody anymore. So why are you using vaccines, boosters that we now know increase the rate of cancer, and the cancers are appalling, they're turbo cancers?
We know.
Kill them! Kill them all!
Well, I mean, I think this is right. It was draconian, dystopian, and totally unnecessary. I mean, I criticised our own Chief Medical Officer, Chris Whitty, and I'll use the words again, as a total moron. He basically wanted to vaccinate our children in order to protect their grandparents. So in that one sentence, he said he knew nothing about vaccines. You only vaccinate to protect somebody else. You do not vaccinate to protect other people. And by that sentence, he said, well, the vaccines didn't work because all the grandparents and parents had already been vaccinated. It was unbelievably stupid. No child died of COVID unless they had some underlying condition like leukemia. It was absolutely abhorrent that they would even think of this. And they were pushed into this by Pfizer and all the people that Pfizer and Moderna wanted to get this into absolutely everybody. These were not vaccines. These were horrible gene therapies that could actually integrate into your genome. And this is one of the reasons we're seeing this horrendous rise in turbo cancers. I'm terrified what they have done to our children. I think everybody who went along to that should actually stand up to trial, defend themselves, and go to court. This is unbelievable, the incompetence, medical negligence, everything, and nobody is accepting responsibility for this. It is unbelievable case of cognitive dissonance, and I hold everybody to account. I hold the chief medical officers to account, the chief scientific officers to account. The so-called, in the UK, we had SAGE, one of the most inappropriate acronyms ever. But, it is unbelievable what we had to. Now, I cannot believe the MHRA and the TGA and the FDA, the level of incompetence and negligence, and they have to be held. This is Nuremberg trial stuff. They are so awful. Now, we know about the contamination. Your TGA have stood up and said, oh, we've done this little study, that study, what have you, but it doesn't really matter because they're safe and effective. They started with the mandate that these vaccines were safe and effective. No, they were never, ever effective. I've looked at the first submissions of Pfizer to the FDA. There was no evidence that they were effective whatsoever. It was basically hope. And they were never, ever safe.
Well, no fucking shit.
The first mandate, the first submission of Pfizer showed that they caused every single side effect you could ever possibly want, and yet the FDA still approved them, and the TGA and the MHRA went along with it. This was absolute criminal negligence. Their job was to say, are they safe? Are they effective? No, they were not. And yet they signed off on it.
The only reason Professor Dalgleish keeps using terms like negligence and incompetence to describe the individuals and institutions that pushed the obviously unsafe, obviously ineffective COVID vaccines on billions of people is because of the cognitive dissonance that happens in a normie mind when facts and reality scream and shout the powers that be want to depopulate the planet by killing billions of innocent people. Thank you very much. If you have a normie mind, meaning if you have not gone through a dark night of the soul / deep rabbit hole of research into the hidden history of the world that was not written by the winners, in which you recognize that the powers that be in this world care about the human population in the same way a factory farmer cares about his cattle.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
And thus would not bat an eyelid about slaughtering half of the herd if it suited them. You may be experiencing similar cognitive dissonance.
No. Wait.
As I said before, it's imperative that you do not allow that cognitive dissonance to catapult you back into the padded cell of denial, because your life and the life of your loved one depends on you waking up to the reality of the world you live in.
Agreed.
One thing your cognitive dissonance is probably saying right now is, yeah, but. Yeah, but is its favourite term, by the way. Yeah, but there is no way they could keep a conspiracy this big secret. I mean, the government and the police and the judiciary would all have to be in on it. And that's just too many people. Somebody would talk. Oh, my sweet summer child. You really don't understand how chain of command and compartmentalization work, do you?
So let's start on this Operation Tala. And I mean, so interesting, of course. So the idea is that on the face of it looks great. Coordinated policy of enforcement, operational guidance across all of the UK. And this was to essentially manage the response to C-19. However, as we know, these things are almost never as they appear. This was a national command structure. So straight off the bat, we need to be aware that this is not a localized thing. This has not just happened in a borough or, you know, in a county. This is all across the UK. And it came from the NPCC, which is the National Police Chiefs Council. Right, Kath, where would you like to start? Other than to say big shout out to the people involved, Ian Clayton from Ethical Approach, Solicitor Phil Highland and ex-cop Mark Sexton, who are also involved in this. Kath, take it away wherever you're most comfortable.
So thank you, Sonia. So back at the beginning of this year, I mean, I think we all picked up. We all knew very early on that people were trying to, I mean, I'm talking thousands, were trying to submit reports and witness statements and evidence to the police about potential crimes that were being committed in terms of the COVID response, but also very much the COVID jabs. And Ian Clayton who has been the lead investigator throughout all of this. He's done an incredible job. He's just not stopped, and he's still going. There's still more we're unraveling as we go. And I think that's why in the summer it was a little difficult for us to disseminate, because we were still waiting for some key evidence. And now we've got that, we can move forward and go very much more public with it, because it was quite confusing. As Ian saw a video at the beginning of the year by a lady called Moira Brown. And it was her trying to submit evidence to police in Scotland. I think they were police constables in Scotland, and they let slip. One of them said, no, we cannot take this information, following a directive from Alan Spears, who at the time, Alan, I can't remember his exact position. I think he was Assistant Chief Constable Alan Spears of Police Scotland, ACC Alan Spears, who incidentally has since been given a King's Award. But that's I know you're that surprised, Kath. I know you're surprised. Sure. Right, so the directive came from him, right? The directive came from him, and it was basically a national rejection instruction, and it included no acceptance of vaccine-related harm complaints, no recording of such matters as crimes, redirections of complainants elsewhere. They'd send them off to the regulators and other people, which it's a crime. What are the regulators going to do with that? That's a police matter. And Spears stated very clearly, very explicitly, that this was on the advice of the NPCC and the Gold Command. And it was a national directive, however much they might try and put that down to being a localized decision. It wasn't. It was a national directive. And from our studies, we can see that it's come predominantly, it looks like the person who issued the overall directive is a gentleman called Martin Hewitt, who was the chief, if you like, Gold Commander of the NPCC. There's the delightful man. And just as an aside, Sonia, I was doing some digging, and guess what? Martin Hewitt is now the UK Border Force Commander. Just to add to the joy, could you write it? Could you believe it?
I could write it, because it's like fiction, isn't it? But it's fact, unfortunately. Yes, I got you, Kath. Got you.
So so Ian saw this video from Moira Brown, and the police officer responding with, no, we cannot accept it, following a directive from Alan Spears, Assistant Chief Constable, Police Scotland. And having stumbled across this video, Ian very quite rightly picked up on it and started issuing FOIs out to get to the bottom of this. And he has spent months back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. You know what they're like. They try and deter, they try and delay, they try and obfuscate. And he's just been like a terrier. He's just kept going, and hats off to him for doing so. So this FOI disclosure was the first documented evidence of this UK-wide suppression policy regarding vaccine-related crimes. And when they've tried to, like I say, when they've tried to deter that, and what happened was when the guys, as you quite rightly pointed out, Mark Sexton, Phil Highland, Lois Bayliss, and Dr. Sam White went to Hammersmith, to the Metropolitan Police, they were able, thankfully, to generate a crime reference number. And I'll just give that to the public in case they want to check or they're not aware, which is 6029679/21.
Just repeat that again, please, Kath. Just repeat that again. Just repeat that again, please, Kath. Yep.
6029679/21. So this remained active and under review even after the directive had gone out about this blanket rejection. And it matters because it shows an internal contradiction, because what happened after that in the following weeks was where we know of over 400 attempted reports from a number of different people, witness statements, evidence. We're talking doctors and scientists who should be certainly considered leaders in their field. We're trying to submit this evidence and concerns about things from the jab to the principles of the lockdowns and so forth. And what was happening is, as time went on, the police were responding to the public saying, well, no, we've got this crime reference number. It's already under investigation. We don't need more evidence. We don't need your statements. We don't need. And they were turning the public away. They were refusing to take any evidence or information from the public. Now, under the statutory duties under the Criminal Procedure and Investigations Act of 1996, they're not allowed to do that. Now, this morning, very interestingly, during the night, Ian Clayton put out a report of a case study he was looking at that happened. And I just want to read some of this out to the public. So it makes it very easy for them to understand what the police did and how awful that was. So There was a case in 1979 of R versus, and I'm going to say Dytham, it's Dytham, and it proved that the police cannot lawfully refuse to hear your crime report. So what happened was PC Dytham witnessed a violent assault that led to a man's death, and he did nothing. He didn't intervene, he didn't call for backup, he didn't report it, he just walked away. And the Court of Appeal ruled that this was a criminal offence because police officers have a public duty to receive reports of crimes and act on them to protect the public. And in failing to do so, especially deliberately, is misconduct in public office. And it proves that police are legally required to act when a crime is reported to them, and doing nothing is unlawful. And as we've seen from Operation Tallow, that equates to thousands of people trying to report crimes and give evidence concerning vaccines harm and the COVID-related policies and so forth. But instead of receiving these reports, officers were instructed not to take them, told not to issue crime numbers, ordered to reject vaccine-related evidence at the front desk, and in many cases they refused to even look at the material. And this isn't an isolated or accidental incident. This is on the back of the directive that came from the very top.
Let me just stop you there, because that's already it's mind-blowing. So we, and when I say we, I mean in a general term, but you all have evidence that not one of these crime reports was taken seriously.
Yeah.
Not
so
one
the one
of
that,
them.
And they try to push people away with the CRN number that I've just previously quoted, stating that it was already being looked at and everything else. And eventually that crime number was shut down. They said there wasn't enough evidence to support it, etc. And in the meantime, they've turned away at least over, and we know it's far exceeding this, but in terms of us being able to document over 400 other reports, witness statements and pieces of evidence, thousands of pieces of evidence.
Very significant. So going back to the NPCC, the idea of Operation Tallow was that they were coordinating advice, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying they were issuing orders. They were the directive, right? That's what you're saying.
They issued it out across the UK, blanket. And the thing that it boils down to is when we've investigated further, and by we, I mean fundamentally Ian Clayton, again, hats off to the chap.
Doing a great job.
Related this further because he went back, he getting FOI responses. This is the beauty of this as well, Sonia. He has documented everything. Everything we are saying is evidenced. Everything we've got is currently open to the public to go and review. And there is more to come that's currently being worked on. So it doesn't just end here. But we are all about transparency. Let's face it, transparency has not been at the forefront over the last 5 years, and it's up to us to shine a light on the truth. So what Ian did from there was he ended up writing constitutional correspondence to the Lady Chief Justice Baroness Sue Carr, the Secretary of State for Justice David Lammy, the Ministry of Justice, the Chair of the Public Administration and Constitutional Affairs Committee Simon Hoare, and the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Mark Rowley. And he raised concerns about the constitutional integrity and statutory compliance and so forth, and the misleading of the public. And he took it from a policing issue to a constitutional oversight view, and put these guys on notice. And unsurprisingly, we haven't heard back from them. But this now shows how cornered they are, because in response, even though not included in the email, the Home Office responded on behalf of the Ministry of Justice. And I'm just showing you this because it shows this is beyond police corruption. And came back and advised Ian Clayton to take his evidence of constitutional concerns as well as the police breaking the law to the Citizens Advice Bureau, which shows that they have seriously.
That's just ridiculous. Right. So the next thing that I just want to tackle, because I think this is the moment to do it, is the issue of freedom of information. Right. Now, the whole point about the Freedom of Information Act, which was introduced in 2000, was that it gives you some form of kind of transparency in a situation that is normally less than transparent. What happened in terms of the freedom of information around Operation Tallow?
So Ian was able to get this information initially, the information he found, through FOIs. But what was interesting was there are certain deadlines, there are certain limitations on time that people are allowed to respond within that. They pushed everything, they extended everything, they delayed everything. There's some that's not even been responded to, Sonia. Right. But it was because of his dog-like determination that he managed to start extracting information and had to keep rewording things, and they kept, deferring it off elsewhere. There was a lot of faffing about.
Right. And so, but also, didn't the NPCC also take charge of it, like gatekeep the freedom, that all freedom of information requests relating to coronavirus will be managed through the NPCC's Freedom of Information and Data Protection Unit, which again is very much putting it into a narrow alleyway, isn't it? It's gatekeeping the situation. So that is contrary to the Freedom of Information Act of 2000. It shouldn't be just through one stream, because that's not how it works. So again, interesting. So NPCC really right at the heart of this. So we shouldn't lose sight of that straight off the bat. Right, Kath, carry on. I just want to make sure that each step along the way, I've got it, because I want everybody to be absolutely clear what we are dealing with here. Okay, over to you.
So what Ian's done by getting this in front of the Lady Chief Justice and so forth, like I say, it's taken this from a purely just policing matter through to it being a constitutional crisis, and our rights being completely removed from us and hidden. If it hadn't, all this Tala stuff, the public weren't made aware of until earlier this year. It was all very well on the surface of it, like you say, they're doing great stuff. They're organising a response to, we're here to protect the public, organising response. But you didn't really see anything out of this out in the public. It was only earlier this year that it was done, and very quickly escalated to become a constitutional situation, because through these FOIs, through this correspondence Ian's been having, it proves that not only were the police not serving the public as they should, nor were the judiciary, and in turn we now know the government. And I think personally this is my belief, it goes to the Cabinet Office and whoever dictates to the Cabinet Office.
And Priti Patel, I believe, was the Home Secretary at the time, and she was there at the awards when Tala received an award, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, they gave themselves a huge pat on the back for all the awesome work that they did during COVID.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that's very serious. You're saying that implicated in this are police, are the judiciary, and the government. This is huge, if true.
That's right. If everything you've just heard about Operation Tala is true, that is, the police, the judiciary, and government are involved in a criminal conspiracy to cover up any crimes associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, which includes vaccine injuries, disabilities, and deaths, then the premise of this video is proven.
You're goddamn right.
Meaning that all of the political conflicts between Democrat and Republican in the US and Labour, Tory, Reform and Restore in the UK, along with the culture war between the anti-racist, pro-immigration, pro-feminist, pro-LGBTQ, liberal, progressive, globalist establishment.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
And the nativist, traditionalist, anti-Kalergi plan, anti-Great Replacement of white European peoples, heritage and culture by Islamic invaders and hostile rape cultures from Pakistan and sub-Saharan Africa.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Right along with the Zionist Jewish supremacist Epstein class's control of Trump and Congress and the Senate and the Fed and the US military and the FBI and the DOJ and the CIA, all of it is one big distraction, one big misdirection from the real game being played, the depopulation game.
Fuck.
The only game that matters, because if we lose this game, there won't be anyone left to play politics or culture war or to notice what the Jews are up to.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Which begs the question, how can we know if Operation Tala is true? Well, one way is to assume that it is true and act accordingly.
Meaning?
Meaning that if it is true, then there must be an external tracking and targeting weapon system to match the internal nanotech antennas that the COVID pandemic was used as a pretext to deceive, manipulate and coerce billions of humans into taking so that they could be tracked and targeted and murdered more quickly and cost effectively.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yes!
Meaning that if that tracking and targeting weapon system was discovered by a tracking and targeting weapon systems expert, and he was able to prove that it was indeed a tracking and targeting weapon system designed to kill millions of innocent people based on them accepting the mark of the beast.
Jesus Christ!
I mean the COVID jab. Then anyone who disabled, say, 200 units plus of that weapon system in and around Cambridge in the UK in broad daylight without covering his face so that he would be arrested and charged with criminal damage and could thus plead not guilty in Crown Court on the basis that he was doing his lawful duty by disabling a weapon system that the police knew about and were enabling to be used on the public due to the top-down directives of Operation Talor.
Cut!
Well then, if Operation Talor was true, there was no way the police could allow this man to talk about it in open court.
Absolutely fucking not.
So there was no way they could charge him with criminal damage for disabling over 200 units of that tracking and targeting weapon system.
Absolutely fucking not.
Meaning, if Operation Talor is true, anyone with the balls and the backbone,
real bad man,
can go around disabling the tracking and targeting weapon system meant to kill millions of innocent people, and there isn't a damn thing the police can do about it.
That's right, I said it!
But rather than tell you if Operation Talor is true, let me show you.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Mark Steele.
Right. Well, thanks for that, Eddie. Great to see as many happy faces. You might not be as happy when I'm finished with you. Chris asked us to do this because a lot of people, who knows me? Anybody here? Nobody. Who doesn't? Who hasn't seen any of my stuff before?
Nobody who'll admit it.
Exactly. I definitely not Northumbria Police, I can tell you. I invented the world's first binocular waveguide. Right now, Chris asked us to do this because a lot of people don't understand my background. When I say some of the things that I do, they'll go, hang on a minute, how does he know that? I invented that, it's the world's first binocular waveguide, and it was for head-up display systems. The reason I invented it was because I knew about electronic assault weapons on a battlefield. Screens, equipment, I then built it into a motorsports helmet. So we took it from concept, invention, concept, and then into a fully registered DOD ECE 2205. So every product you see there, from those leathers to the bike, to the petrol in it, the helmet, all have to be standardised. You've got international standards you must adhere to, otherwise you can't sell it. That goes for the cup. When you go and buy a cup at Asda, right? When you put hot water in it, you don't expect it to explode. The reason it doesn't explode is because it fits a standard. There's manufacturing processes to make sure that it doesn't do that. It sometimes does happen. So everything has a standard. So I was quite concerned about what I was starting to see. Now, this is a weapon sight system. This is my invention on the right. And what we were doing, we're passing a visual system across the top of the helmet so that it could get full spectrum. The current weapon sight systems use this 560 nanometers wavelength. It's green for a reason. So you see how he's got the green vision system there. The reason it's green is because it's less biologically toxic. So it gives you an idea about optical radiation and how some things can be safer than others and some things are going to be pretty risky. You'll see the blast screen he has. The reason for the blast screen, when you fly into attack, you've got to take out your enemy's radar. Right, so you use what's called ARM. Everybody's heard about ARM missiles, anti-radiation missiles. It's the first form of attack because what they use radar for, it's a weapon system, okay? So that's the main thing. So that's why you go in, he covers his whole face in, because I can take his eyes out, be well known on a battlefield. So it's one of the things a lot of people don't know about, okay? So it just gives you an idea. This is the science behind it. So you can see I'm just not saying things for the good of my health. Blue, this blue here, that's the cell death, the level of cell death, all right? And as you get full spectrum, which is just about as bad, and then you get in the green, guess what? That's why they use green weapon sight systems on Apache helicopters, etc., etc. It's because the blue, right, the 450 nanometers is extremely problematic. So you can imagine, my local authority rocked up outside my house in 2016 to put LED streetlights in. They increased the optical radiation hazard from 2000 Kelvin to 6,000 and 7,000 Kelvin. It will kill insects. It will kill most things, ecocide, right? So you've got it, LED streetlights may they do cause cancer. Optical radiation is a known hazard. That's why there's only 2 authorities in this country that can actually expose you to optical radiation. One is a lighthouse and one's a port authority. It's a known environmental hazard. So you can imagine, right, the rock up outside my house with this light here, I get myself a bit agitated about it, make a few complaints about it, and they do absolutely zero. They eventually took us to court to try and gag us, because I knew we were in trouble in 2016. This is all part of net zero. They've put illegal lighting in your streets, unsafe. These are category 2s, they're 0.25 a second. So don't think, when people go, such and such is just getting cancer, it doesn't just happen. And not only does it not just happen, why are your public authorities not doing anything about it?
We know. Kill them! Kill them all!
The earlier part of the century, cancer was 1 in 100. Now you've got to remember, we're all sat over the top of coal fires, extremely dangerous, yeah? You had power stations, coking works, everything, 1 in 100. It's now 1 in 2, and they're talking about the one being everybody's going to get cancer. I wonder what it could be. Wonder what could be causing it.
We know. Kill them! Kill them all!
Now, one of the most dangerous things you can have with any type of optical radiation emitter is what's called flicker. Now, flicker is a problem. I'm not going to get that to play. If this was playing, you'll see the pulsing away, all right? It's a breach of the IEEE standard, right? You never want optical radiation emissions. The maximum in a category 2, 0.25 a second. Now, your government tell you those lights are safe, because they're up above you, you can't look at them because it hurt your eyes. Guess what? They've just put them in all the new cars. Anybody having trouble driving around at night? Oh, yeah. Everybody's got sore eyes. You're getting back. They're illegal. They've weaponised the light system, right, to cause you harm. They know about this. They've known from the get-go. Now, I then went on to investigate, obviously, 5G and all the other weaponry type technologies that you see being deployed right across the whole country currently, right? Stuff that most people just don't understand. It's what's called asymmetrical unconventional warfare. Someone's declared war on you, all right? All part of net zero, all part of this climate agenda, right? C40 Digital City. Who's behind it? This clown.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
And his mate, George Soros, C40 Cities, totally funded by George Soros, Bill Gates, the usual offenders. Ultra low emission zones. But what is quite interesting is this. That's a UK authority document. And what it says is the World Economic Forum chooses Belfast, Leeds and London as... Hang on a minute. Who voted for the World Economic Forum? So you've got a UK authority document going in front of councils, local authorities, and they're being told that it's the World Economic Forum that's choosing your smart cities. That's a bit strange, isn't it? That's not democratic, is it?
Absolutely fucking not.
So, sustainable road transport. Now, when Con fitted his ultra-low emission zone for breathing difficulties, what actually happened, the exact inversion, they had a 30% increase in 999 call-outs for people who couldn't get their breath and a 20% increase in heart attacks. What could be causing it?
We know. Kill them! Kill them all!
Now, any sort of issue like that, you have people in your local authority, health authorities, you've got the directors for public health, they're paying themselves 120, 300 grand a year. I mean, fortunes to protect your health. Guess what? You've heard nothing from them. Nothing. Zip. Which tells me a part of a criminal conspiracy to harm you.
You're goddamn right.
This equipment was deployed right away across London, right? It's a Unex traffic unit. It's on a gimbal there. We were told by Transport for London, because as soon as I looked at that and I was watching the Blade Runners chopping it down. Well, who's the Blade Runners here? Can you just stand up and give them lads a clap? They're heroes. Max likes it. These are not cameras. We were told it was an NPR camera, and the NPR camera only needs a single vision engine. It's got two. And I thought it's a bit on the big side, because I know what an NPR camera looks like on the back of a cop car. You can see them every day, like a little box of chocolates. That looks a bit big, so off I went to London to see if a couple of the Blade Runners down there, to see if we could get inside of one and actually have a look. What we discovered was a high-speed modem called Gemalto. It was built by Thales, one of the big defence contractors, with Huawei. Huawei's banned. They're a banned technology, especially with a modem. So what controls that? China. It's a Chinese-controlled piece of equipment. This was the unit. What we discovered inside were these multi-photon ionizing radiation emitters. That's a laser symbol there. You can see it with a little circle on it. And that there is a laser. See if I can get this to play it and you'll see. Now, that's called flicker. So you can't see it. It's infrared. You're driving around the city. So I'm thinking to myself, well, hang on a minute. If they have deployed this equipment and they haven't done an environmental impact analysis, then what we're going to really see, we're going to start seeing large numbers of people having eye injury, eye problems, right? At the top of the traffic light, I was very interested in this little black box. You can just see it there, but also the grey box on the left-hand side. Because this all looks very interesting. It's all over the place, by the way. You don't have to go to London to see it. That is from London. You don't have to go to London. This is ubiquitous all over the country. The British government made available 6.8 billion. Can it fix your roads? Can it fix your hospitals? Can it fix anything? But they can spend 6.8 billion, and that clown, right, who's just left there, Keir Starmer.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
He's just actually had to allocate another 4 billion. There's murders on, because they think they might have a war with Russia, and that's saying, no, the defence industry kind of the money we need it for the roads, for the cycle paths. Well, it's not for the cycle paths, is it?
Absolutely fucking not.
Multi-photon ionization is always being known. This picture, this is Newcastle. So as you can see, Newcastle, you've got a stereoscopic unit there. It's called Neurostrike, by the way. That's what the Chinese call it. That thing on the left, 48 infrared laser brain scanner.
What did you say? What the did you just say?
Unbelievable. On a pedestrian crossing.
What?
The other thing, 32 cavity back. So pulsed light is, you'd fail every standard, right? So you can't have pulsing lights. Unfortunately, because infrared, you can't see them, but you've got to, this is part of the IE 802 15.6. It is a connection between the human body, automotive, car, combination, medical health and human body. It is an all-encompassing connecting you to the transport infrastructure.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
How you think, well, how are they going to do that? That's the internals of the 48IR. Now, that's not supposed to be there. I've got the technical documents from this company, and those 48IR are not in the technical details. So what they're hiding. If it was straightforward and it wasn't a problem, then why are they hiding it? This is here, on the back end of it, is this transmitter. It's all part of the 5G network, all 802 15.6, all right? So this is all part of this thing. So I'd expect, what would you expect? You'd expect people to have some serious eye problems, wouldn't you? Since the deployment, these are cataracts. Amazing, isn't it? It's the first thing I looked at. I got back and thought, the only thing I can think of, what would happen here, you get loads of people suffering eye injury. Because you can't see it. You can't avert your eyes from it. One of the reasons why people say to me, why do you wear them? The mirror helps to protect you from this invisible radiation emission. It's a breach of the Public Health and Control of Disease Act. At 6.6 electron volts, I can get what's called multiphoton ionization. All of that ionization, everybody knows that ionizing radiation is dangerous, correct? All of that equipment can reach that level. So it's ionizing radiation you're being sprayed at. Now, the Corelate fusion, fusion's battlefield derived, and what it requires is radar, laser detection, and vision engines. So you've got a radio frequency radiation. This equipment should be categorized as a class 1 cancer because you've got a mix of optical radiation, radar, which all going to pose a significant risk. Never been tested for safety, obviously, and we've got Transport for London have just deployed it all over. Now we'll hear quite a bit about the flock equipment that's been chopped down in America. This is on the back of what the lads are doing over here, by the way, because Americans have been watching what we're doing and they're starting to join up. They're joining up the dots. Here you have LiDAR, that's the laser detection. You've got a radar unit on the top there, and that's the directional weapon system. The radar unit is called Senses, all right? Senses ID. The document states there it can monitor every media access code, your Wi-Fi in your vehicle. So when you're driving around the streets, it's looking into your car, it can hear you, it's audio-able, see how many passengers in the car, but it can actually identify you, so you know your smartphone. If you use it for facial recognition to open it, or you've got a thumbprint to open it, it knows who you are. So that identifies you. So hang on a minute, if they're using radar, this Senses 2.4 gigs unit, what's the DEW for? What is it for? What could it be for? Because I can tell you now, it ain't what they're telling you what it's for.
It is a fucking surprise.
Scientists camouflage heart rate from invasive radar base. So this radar that they've put up on pedestrian crossings, got no protection from it. It's cancer causing, right? I can initiate a cardiac arrest. If I know your heart rate, I can cause a cancellation wave and I can stop your heart, I can kill you.
Son of a bitch!
That equipment is well able to murder you. No two ways about it. It's all over, being put up by councils, all part of this transport infrastructure upgrade. That's what I've been told by Newcastle Council. They spent £23 million and are going to spend a significant more amount to get more of it out there. No environmental impact analysis, just we're the council, we can do what we want. That's what you get from them. They must have a non-ionizing radiation sticker on because someone could climb up there and be in the near field and they'd be at significant risk. This is the Unex traffic gun sight. It's actually got a gun sight on it. It's got a radar gun. And so we broke one open and there you can see, for everybody to see. Right, so I'm not making it up. That there is a 24 phased array antenna. It's sitting on a ceramic substrate. Ceramics are only used for high voltage, high power outputs, okay? You don't need them otherwise, you just put them on a PCB board. You've then got a PCB board insulator, you've got an air gap, and the electronics are on the rear side. It's what's called radiation hardened. What I mean by rad hardened, so when I fire that weapon at you in anger, so I'm not just scanning it like that, I'm focusing at you, when it bounces back it won't burn out the electronics. So it's been built to do harm. It's a gun. It'd actually be classified under the Firearms Act, believe it or not. Coppers are having a bit of struggle with that one at the minute. The AGD unit, 32, cavity backed on a ceramic, right? The unit on the back, it's a 5G antenna, it's called a meandering antenna, it's 5G, and it talks to the 5G network. Now, how you kill with this, you go from, you've got 32 antennas, and what I do is I offset the signal to create what's called a focal point. It's called a synthetic aperture. And that synthetic aperture aims the signal at the target. Not that I need to do that. There's other ways to do injury with it. You've got to remember, no environmental impact analysis, no health impact analysis, and everybody's getting ill, and they don't know why.
We know.
Kill them! Kill them all!
Now, to just focus a point, this radar gun's 12 volt, not main supplied. It's a handheld cop gun. It's what the coppers used to use. They had to stop them using it because they're all getting cancer. The bounce back, coppers stand on the side of the road shooting your car, the bounce back and the side lobe leakage was giving them cancers. There was that many of them getting cancer to stop it, but you see, you could say that was a weapon, but I'll tell you what I would look for. It's not sitting on ceramics. It's sitting on a PCB board. So guess what? I wouldn't be able to identify that as a weapon because it's on a PCB board. So it's just to put things into perspective how that's on a PCB and that causes cancer. There's the patents for it. All right. So if you look at the list on the right hand side, these are weapon systems to create covert health effects using electromagnetic radiation. This one on the left is a phased array, active phased array. That just means focusing the weapon at you. It was patented as a weapon. Electromagnetic radiation weapon systems, these are the weapon systems that don't want anybody to know about. They've been used covertly for many, many years. Havana Syndrome, they were attacking US Embassy staff, the Russians, in 1976. So it's something they don't want you to know about. But let's get back to the IE-802, where they're going to connect people to the grid. So they can see you, they can track you, and unfortunately, they can terminate you.
Jesus Christ.
It's the 802.15, these are the 5G standards, and it's the wireless body area network, right? How do they do that? Well, Matt the cock there...
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Andrew's best mate, cocky boy, right? He was scumbag, absolute demon.
Agree with that. I agree with that.
He's been involved with this from the get-go, by the way, and I have got quite a bit of intel on him, right? Just tip of the iceberg, this. He was the digital minister, and what he brought in was local authorities are not allowed to do any environmental impact analysis on any of this type of equipment. You give 5G masts, you give them the right to put them up without being able to do an environmental impact analysis, and your local authority have been told they cannot do health impact analysis when they put 5G in. Now, that goes against all your primary legislation. All the primary legislation, risk assessments. I can't even open a restaurant and not have the wrong coloured knives. They'll shut you down. Your council will shut a construction company down because they haven't got the right hat, the right tools. You know what? It's total safety bullshit, most of it. But guess what? They'll allow them to put a 5G mast up down the bottom of your street and no environmental impact analysis. If that doesn't show alarm bells ringing in every council across the country, I mean, if I was a councillor and they said to me, oh, we're going to put a 5G mast and you're not allowed to check the environment and the environmental effect. That would make me think, wouldn't it? It would make anybody think. What they actually did, Matt's admitted chipping you on behalf of Bill Gates. Now, it's a graphite ferritic nanometamaterial. If anybody's had it, you can mitigate it. The first day I met Andrew, unfortunately, I said to him, can I test you with a near-dear magnet? And he went, not here. We'll have to go around the corner. Me, Phil, Graham took Andrew round the corner, and he was good enough to let us test him, and the magnet stuck to the contaminants in his deltoid. They're nanometamaterials, and what it does, it allows me to track you in that space, and it's all part of this IE 802 15.6 standard. That scumbag...
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Not only was he the minister, digital minister, he then became the health minister, and obviously pushed the Bill Gates tracking technology.
Ah, you motherfucker!
That's the scientific study on it. 55 unknown, undeclared chemical elements, and the ones that I was really interested in are lanthanides. 15 cytotoxic lanthanides, and the reason for that is they're already tested on soldiers on a battlefield. So if I've got a soldier on a battlefield and I can see his heart rate, and if I lose him, right, I know he's dead. I can look at him on a computer screen. It's like playing a game. And that's like one of these new games. So I'm watching my soldiers on a battlefield. One gets slotted, and that's him gone. And I can see it all. So that's where the technology was developed. That's what ended up in a lot of people's deltoids as a tracking technology. So we saw it coming pretty early on. It's linked with the data centres. Now think about it. Every single local authority is allowing these data centres to get built. Yeah? They're a total breach of their environmental legislation. They use massive amounts of power. Though it's supposed to be reducing our power. It's all about reducing your power when it comes to net zero, but not when it's up to them to build their data centres. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. They're extremely dangerous because once they get these AI operating platforms up, they will be able to look down to a mesoscopic level. They'll be able to scan you on your pedestrian crossings. Well, they won't where the Blade Runners are because they're chopping them down. Right? They won't be able to do it there. In fact, I'm having a bit of a problem. In fact, blade running is running into a lot of problems with the cops. They're actually not charging them. They're arresting them, taking them in, interviewing. We've got all the data. These are weapon systems. You are entitled under UK law and international law. You can remove them. 5G. Now, the British government said there's going to be no more radiation when they bring 5G in. Yeah? So that is a theoretical model of 5G, which increases getting a bit warm, isn't it? Isn't it a bit warm lately? Yeah? Well, no wonder. The more you put in, now these transmitters, for the 5G densification, right, it's expected that they're going to be every half a kilometre, right? That's what they say. Every half a kilometre you can see a 5G mast. So this picture's from Leeds. I can see 4 telecoms masts, 3 5G masts. It's in one photograph. They're not half a kilometre away. What they're playing at? Where's the planners? I mean, imagine being part of the planning authority and they go, we're going to put 3 masts next to each other. You would come, well, hang on a minute, they're supposed to be half a kilometre away from each other. No, they're just doing what they want. It's like the Wild West. Were caught. There was, I think, Nicholas Martin, right, and Ian Jarvis found there was about 500 documents had been faked for the safety. There's no safety in 5G, nonsense. That faked, a company had been set up and faked 500. Now that's tendering a false instrument. Guess what? You reported to the police, and guess what the police done? Just like Operation Tala. Zip. Nothing. Nothing to see here. Move along.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Tendering a false instrument is a criminal offence. The reason for that, and the reason why the police are conspiring with these organisations to do it, the main blanket coverage for 5G sub-gig, long range. Remember the story used to get off them all the time? You need them every few metres because they're millimetre waves don't travel very far in air. Absolute garbage. Total nonsense. These are ceramic heads that phase the ray. It's a weapon system, not for your telecommunications. All right? This document is from Ericsson, the bottom one, and what it says is the 5G network rollout is impossible for safety. That's Ericsson, that's an industry document. They say it can't be done. Guess what? Perfectly safe. You speak to anybody in the government, it's not perfectly safe. Well, what it really is 5G. That's what 5G is. It's a battlefield. It's the future battle space. I would play the drone video. I think we might be able to get it playing there. We've seen a lot of drone activity. Now drones need to geolocate themselves, right? So if I've got a total mesh network, right, I can get the drone to like see where it is in a 3D space. Because after they've shot you on the pedestrian crossing, that's what's coming next. Make no mistake about it, what these criminals have done to her, they're planning something absolutely horrific. But like I said before, they need the data centres up before they can do that. Because the data centre is going to be able to control that drone. AI is going to be able to control that drone directly in on target. That's what the 5G battlefield is. Now, the other day I had some people contact me very concerned about what BT are putting up on these telegraph poles. These are audio able, right? So it's actually listening. It's spine tech. This one was outside of the Travellers Rest in Sunnyside. So everybody's sitting in the pub, having a bit chit chat. Just be very careful what you're saying. I know they're listening on your mobile phone, but you've got to be very careful around this tech because it can hear you. Now, when would you ever in history think that BT, Openreach, really wanted to spy on you 24/7? It's all illegal. It's all breaching GDPR. They are fibre optic, and that the way it's curled like that, right, specifically so they can hear you in your own streets. This is Sunnyside, a small pit village. On top of there, you've got the Senses unit, right, and you've also got a phased array 32 cavity back. What could it really be? Well, what we do know is they are planning to harm us, okay? Danger lithium batteries, you see them all the time blowing up, yeah? The US government are basically saying that time bombs, well, there are time bombs. See that 5G mast? I can focus a beam directly at it and explode it. I can activate it, I can overcharge it and I can blow it up on you, just like a dirty bomb. This study, any local authority, local authority pushing net zero, the study's just come out of Germany, it's hot off the press, and what it says is, inside an electric vehicle, it is a minimum, whether it be a hybrid, whether it be a bus or a train, it's a minimum 100 micro Tesla. Might mean a lot to a lot of people, but it's 20 times over the ICNIRP guidance. That means it'll cause sterility, cancer, that's every single, so any local authority pushing you into an electric vehicle or trying to encourage you into electric vehicles, I've just had it out with NECA, North East Combined Authority, they've made hundreds of millions of pounds available to go North East to buy buses to put kids in for school to sterilise them. Absolutely unbelievable. And the other issue with these type of vehicles, this one was a diesel, well a hybrid diesel at Luton Airport, and obviously the battery got on fire. Now the guy who obviously had it, the diesel tank was pretty empty. So it just got hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and it blew. £6 million worth of damage. One vehicle, can you imagine? That's the sort of thing will get you banned straight away. But guess what? Nobody's banning it because what they want you in them so they can actually sterilise you. Now, one of the things a lot of people don't understand, you don't need a lot of power of microwaves to kill you or injure you, right? Small amounts will do it. Impact of electromagnetic radiation fields. Now, this study was done on all of the published peer-reviewed papers that they could get their hands on. So a total assessment of all of the published work. And what it says is electromagnetic radiation, fertility, sterility, kids in particular. When did they ever tell you how dangerous your Wi-Fi was? When did anybody ever give you warning? When do you ever see it in the media? It was like the safe and effective, wasn't it? Nobody actually told you any of this. They didn't tell you that lower level microwave signals can cause you to have a heart attack. Death by seizure can also cause neurological pathologies like a stroke. Right? All well known in the industry. One of the things I can do when we're not using a lot of power, right, is cause what's called relay. And all I have to do is create a counterclockwise spin. Your blood is clockwise. So what I do is I get you to run the spin the other way. Don't need a lot of power. Just change the polarity and you will get what's called relay or rouleau. Depends how you pronounce the French. I do it like a Geordie, right? Like relay. Well, I don't know. I'll have to get some French kid to tell us. Anyway, all part of the same standard. They weren't kidding, right? Earth Summit 92, right? September, right? They stated clearly they want to sterilise you, they want to abort you, and they want to genocide you. So the same characters who are pushing your electric vehicles, your low emission zones, your climate emergency, right? That's what they want to do. That's the plan. It's in black and white. That's their document. You can't find it. They're not shy. Klaus Schwab's not shy. He's already told you what he's going to do. He's going to strip you of all your assets. You will own nothing and they're going to have everything. And you're going to be happy. Well, you're probably not going to be happy. You're probably going to be dead. Because they're not planning for you to be happy, are they really? Let's be honest. I mean, that's another one of their lies. Now, obviously, Blade Runners, can we get another round of applause for the Blade Runners? Hey, hey. You know what? Hey. Blade Runners, your country needs you. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, right, this is fracturing that system. Because the coppers have got to come out, they've got to nick you, they've then got to see the evidence. So the coppers are getting evidence going, whoa, I had 2 cops at my house. And I tested both with a magnet, and they both went out. They went, what's it all about? I went, they're going to kill you lot. Because I'm not shy either. I'll just tell them how it is, straight off the hip. I went, they're going to murder you. And I will tell them till the cows come home. That's exactly what they're going to do, by the way. Public sector workers, council workers, police, military, they were very, very forceful about making sure that most of the coppers got the tracking technology injected into them. Now, Criminal Damage Act, you have a defence in law. You only have to believe it. I can prove it. But you only, in your true belief, right, it's justified, you can actually destroy it. You can take it out. So it's got to be a true belief, by the way. So I always say to people, understand the technology. Don't take my word for it. You must understand the technology. So if you were to do anything, it has to be what's happening in your head at that time. I always tell people as well, get a duty solicitor, because I like to get the evidence. If you don't get one, they won't give you it. Coppers, to basically breach pace. So let's just see how you do the New World Order. During the day, right? How is son? Get it going there. Oh no, it hasn't, like. You can see it only takes it only takes a second or so. Right. Watch this wife walking past, she's like, go on son, get that down. Timber. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So the great thing is we've still got some heroes left in this country, right? We've still got some heroes about, right? You're doing nothing wrong. You have a right in law to do that. Don't believe what they say. These are weapon systems. Matt Houston's case, I was supposed to be up in court, part of his defence as a witness, because went down to London. I showed his legal team what they've deployed on top of him in Transport for London. Transport for London, by the way, say the radar doesn't exist. I've got it documented. I've got 2 statements from them to say it doesn't exist. Well, it does exist because we've got them, right? We've been inside them, and actually that's what the lads were chopping down. So how can they say it doesn't exist? It's ludicrous. So we've got his court case was supposed to be, we've been waiting 2 years for this case. Anyway, we went down, 5-day trial. At the last minute, right, there was a pre-trial hearing on the Thursday. I dropped the mother load on them, right? So it's irrefutable because I know there's about 9 cops. They've got 3 other witnesses. All they've had to be booked out for that trial. And guess what? On the Friday, they came back, emergency session, and went, not happening. Not happening. We're putting it back at the back end of 2027. They're desperate to get into these non-jury trials, right, so that the jury don't get to know, right? If the jury find out what your British government are funding to murder you, it's all Chinese controlled, right? That's what it is.
Real bad man. 3 weeks later.
So it is absolutely true then about Operation Tallow.
What did you say? What the did you just say?
When I bring that up, you're actually completely silent. You can't even speak about it.
Don't know what it is, unfortunately.
No, I'm sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Man, there you go with that bullshit.
What it is, so.
Sure.
I'll have a little look up and see what it is when I'm head back later.
Yeah, so during the COVID-1984 scandemic,
I can see what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
The highest of the high of the police forces met up and made sure that no vaccine crimes were ever talked about, and they were all ignored entirely, which makes you criminally liable in a conspiracy to commit murder against the public. Yeah?
Later.
So there I am in the cell. I've asked for my duty solicitor. They gave me the opportunity to have a duty solicitor, which is a lawful obligation, and you always take it. It's always going to be helpful, even if they're not on your side. Make sure you're going to have a duty solicitor in the interview. And yeah, if you're like me and you've prepared, you've got your evidence, you can read through it, whatever. But you're going to be in there for some time. And I regularly fast.
Real bad man.
I'm not eating food in a police station. You know, I don't trust them.
I don't blame you.
So why would I be consuming their stuff? I drunk water, no tea or coffee. I don't need the stimulation. You know, I just want to be focused and in the zone.
Real bad man.
Just drinking water, meditating, and getting through. I was actually, while I was in there, thinking to myself, I wonder if that video that we took at the beginning has been posted. And I was kind of in my meditation just thinking, like, imagine if it has. Imagine if it hasn't. I wonder what's going on out there. At that moment, little did I know that the video had been posted, and it's already clocking tens, hundreds of thousands of views.
That's what I'm talking about!
Which probably wasn't that nice for the investigating officers, I have to say. But I didn't know any of this, of course. So yeah, by the time we got into the interview, it must have been 250,000, something like that. The arrest video, that is. And I'm just sitting there in this room where it sounds like someone's hoovering the door, really tuning into, you know, what people are feeling about this whole thing. And I actually felt a lot of support, you know. Where that was from, I don't know, but I could feel support, because, you know, the general sentiment of people now is that something is up, and people are at least beginning to see that this isn't in the favour of the people. So yeah, I was getting those feelings, but didn't realise quite, you know, how far on it was with views and whatever online. And yeah, eventually I went for this interview. It was late afternoon, I would say. And I gave my written statement, gave my evidence, and then...
Bitch, please.
I'm not answering questions.
My nigga.
Once that's over, you know, an hour and a half of questions answered, questions asked that I'm not answering. It was said, this is going to CPS, Crown Prosecution Service. It's going to be given to them now, and you'll probably be in magistrates by the morning and prison in the afternoon. And the solicitor, the duty solicitor, when the police walked out, they kind of mic dropped it. You know, they were obviously slightly frustrated at this point, but they mic dropped that and then walked out, and they were like, we do what we want. My duty solicitor says, okay, CPS, it's the Crown Prosecution Service. And then you'll end up in magistrates, which is basically a police court, and, you know, they also do what they want, and then you're going to be in the nick. So he was like, wow, you know, they're going for it. But all you can do now is go back to your cell. And I was like, okay, you know. At that point, let's say 10 hours, 12 hours in, you're thinking, you know, it doesn't really change anything. Like, the process has begun now. Like I said before, it's like it's gone from a 0 to a 1. You're involved. This is what's happening. You chose the moment that you went and took action. You knew that this was going to happen, you know.
Real bad man.
And yeah, the next hour and a half, I was quite tired because I'd been, you know, meditating, doing yoga and whatever for the whole day, trying to keep myself focused for that interview. And yeah, I went to have some sleep. So I got some rest, and then suddenly the door flings open. Get your stuff, you're out.
Your thoughts?
What?
Simple as that. It took less than 10 minutes from that door flinging open to me collecting my bags, putting on all the stuff that they've taken off me, and suddenly I was out in the open.
No way!
There's a park just outside the station in Cambridge, Parker's Piece. And suddenly I'm out, the sun's still up. You know, it was about 9 o'clock and mid-ish summer. And I'm like, what just happened? I've got no phone and I have to walk home. But I'm walking home all the way and I'm just going, what is going on? What is going on? You know, I've got no bail conditions. I had a holiday booked in a few days' time, and I asked before I left what I can go out the country. They said, yeah, it's absolutely fine. I'm like, wow. So it's true. I mean, I knew all along, of course, but this was just like, you know, the final nail in the coffin of fallacy. You know, it's dead. You know, they know that I know, and they can't do anything about it.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Hi there. My name's Ben. I'm from Cambridge in the UK. And I just want to tell you about joining Paradox's Way of Mastery group. and the Phalanx, the men's side of the group, I realised over the past few years that it was not only a necessary part of my process here to awaken as a conscious and enlightened being.
My nigga.
But I also realised that we do need help in doing so. In the end, we don't, but through the process, we certainly do. And I found that Chris and the Phalanx group, the Way of Mastery group, is a brilliant start, and of course, a brilliant support all the way through that process.
I agree with that.
Chris is a great mentor. Whenever you have an issue, you can be open and honest, and you'll get back tenfold what you put in.
My man.
The reason for it is he always brings back all of your issues to spiritual and absolute truths. And in those truths you find the nuggets of information that you need to move forwards and to let go, more often than not, of the issues themselves, which gives a long-lasting meditation and long-lasting solution.
Correct. Thank you.
The Phalanx group is very similar in that you can be open and honest, and it's a place where you can really talk about what you're going through. And the brothers, who are all on different stages of their journey, can certainly help by being honest back and relaying these spiritual truths that help us along our way. So, as you know, so within, so without, and if you don't go within, you go without.
You're goddamn right.
So join that group. If you're feeling called, if you're watching this video, then you're 90% of the way there. And yeah, see you on the other side.
Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. The depopulation agenda is real. The COVID jab, or as I call it, the Depop shot, was just the beginning. These phased array electronic assault weapons, disguised as traffic sensors and ULEZ cameras, are stage 2.
Fuck.
If you're an able-bodied man, join the Blade Runners in disabling them.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
If you're not, share this video with everyone you know to raise awareness that the government and the police are trying to kill you.
How could you be so sure?
Because
we have a Hulk
called Mark Steele.
Oh dear, we are in trouble.
Now, Ben's case in Cambridge is an example of a perfect way to do it. Fortunately, I was able to speak to Ben the day before. We'd already lodged with Cambridgeshire Police that what had been damaged was in fact a weapon system. So his arrest was an unlawful arrest. Okay, it was illegal because what the police were doing, what Cambridgeshire Constabulary were doing, they were stopping him from upholding the law.
I told you so.
We all have a duty, not just a legal right. We have a duty to remove these weapon systems. So that's why I'm telling you. But you've got to remember, in the first instance, you have to understand the technology and know that it is a weapon system. That is irrefutable, by the way, if you get the actual evidence. Now, when you're bailed, right, obviously there'll be bail conditions. You can challenge them in a magistrate's court, okay, if they're onerous, which they may be. And the reason why they didn't put any bail conditions on Ben's case, because they know it's a weapon system. The whole reason why he had a detective inspector searching his house. I mean, detective inspectors do not turn out, right, for a criminal damage. You know, it just doesn't happen, right? They're like chicken's teeth. I mean, you can't even get a couple of uniform to come out when your house is being burgled. This is a simple, a not complicated criminal damage, alleged criminal damage, right, which wouldn't necessitate the inspector, the detective inspector in particular, to come to your home to search it. They were looking for all sorts of paraphernalia because they know, this has come from the top, they know that what's been deployed is an illegal weapons system. I spoke to the detective inspector and I told him and his ilk, right, for covering up this crime, this criminal enterprise, and because it's connected with Operation Tala, will be in serious trouble. He thinks that's not the case. Well, I'll tell you now, watch this space, because unfortunately, more and more people are starting to work out what's really went on in the criminal conspiracy. I'm not saying all cops. In fact, I would suggest there's only a very, very small minority of these really bad apples, right? Rotten to the core, but unfortunately, they're at the top. They're at the very top.
I told you so.
And they permeate all of this sectarianism, all of this bias in relation to, depending on where you're from, etc., etc. So, unfortunately for them, lots more people are starting to get the knowledge. Knowledge is key. If you need knowledge, the Save Us Now Substack, absolutely crucial. The other thing is the resistance. Being party to the resistance, you have to remember, the Save Us Now movement is a fully registered political movement, and our dictum is there are actors within the government are being infested, right, with actors who are planning your murder, your depopulation. This net zero is nothing more than a globalist political terror agenda to harm, to assault, and to steal your property. They're coming for it all. So just be mindful, right, what we're up against. Okay, so you've got some massive forces, and unfortunately, a lot of the what I call the shiny button mob, right, they like to polish their buttons and make sure they're nice and smart, just like they do as they're told. However, following orders is no defence in law. And these criminal acts, right, of injecting people with these experimental bioweapons, which are now well known to be bioweapons by all of the independent scientists, right, across the world, these are biological chemical weapons, and they have planned to murder you.
Quiet weapons for silent wars.
Matt Hancock's admission that was a tracking technology in it. On behalf of Bill Gates, it's all here. We have all of the technical details of what they're really planning, as well as the intelligence documents to show how many people they're going to injure and kill.
Quiet weapons for silent wars.
Also, they're going to kill the cops. You've got to remember, these coppers are on the front line. Once this weapon system's fully operational, audioable, you see the telegraph poles being littered with this fibre optic, it's FTTP. These are audio-able technologies so they can listen to your home. It's all illegal. The people who are installing it haven't got a clue what they're doing. They're being told it's one thing when in point of fact it's something a lot more nefarious, like 5G. 5G is a weapon system. It was never for your mobile device. That is just a cover. It's a cover for the weapons program. Your smart meters, if you've got smart meters, get them removed. They're dangerous. The modulated frequency will cause sickness and ill health, as well as they can attack all of the devices in your home. It's all about control. The digital system, these large data centers, they've already got all your data. So what's the data center for? The data center is specifically so they can identify the specifics, the biometrics of the victim before they eliminate them. And mostly people in the public sector, people with large pensions, people like BlackRock, because it's in Chapter 11, they can't afford, they've got a multi-trillion pound deficit, and the only way they can fix that is by murder, okay? And they're going to do it using these silent, covert weapons programs. So really important, we're up against it. This is warfare, by the way.
Silent weapons for quiet wars.
You've got MPs who are actually telling people today, lying to them and saying that they're not chemtrailing, even though the government has allocated the funding and have actually admitted it and then denied they're doing it, the same as Transport for London stated there was no radar guns on their infrastructure. A total fabricated nonsense. We've got councils around the country now in panic. You've got a lot of people in the reform movement and the restore movement, right, who are totally against this. I would suggest you speak with all of those local councillors and make them aware of the illegal equipment that's been deployed, the dangerous equipment that has been illegally deployed on your street to harm you, your children, and to steal your property and to damage your property. They're ubiquitous. You can't get away from them. I mean, I was in Leeds yesterday, catastrophic. I thought Newcastle was bad. Leeds is horrific. Every single point of power every tube that comes out the ground, every mass that comes out the ground, it's got some type of weaponized paraphernalia attached to it. They're planning a mass cull. We've got to stop them. Okay, it's really important. So if anybody is allegedly arrested or other, I'm putting this out there, share far and wide, so at least we can get into the court and we can overturn those charges, because you have a defence. You've got a right and a defence and a duty to protect yourself, your community, your environment from these criminal acts that are being perpetrated against you by criminals within your local authorities, all following a £6.8 billion funding from central government, all because of this so-called adaptive transport network. They are not sensors, they are weapon systems. I know exactly what a sensor is. They're easily identifiable in relation to a phased array ceramic cavity-backed substrate antenna system. They're electronic assault weapons, nothing more, easily identifiable, okay, including the laser weapons. So God bless everybody. Share this far and wide so people have advice. Listen to it. Send it to anybody, right, who thinks they may be going to get a knock on the door, okay, and get it recorded. The more recording, the more information, and the more we can bring this absolute horrific globalist depopulation plan organised by an AI operated platform, right, before they trigger that weapon system. We've got to stop. All right. God bless everybody. Share far and wide.
The premise of this video was that every narrative you see in the mainstream media and that is algorithmically promoted on social media is a deliberate misdirection to distract you from the fact that the ruling elites have been planning on reducing the human population of planet Earth by at least 2 billion in order to make their technocratic, transhumanist, totalitarian, Great Reset, New World Order more manageable. Cut. Over the last hour and 40 minutes, I've presented a shit ton of soft evidence and a shit ton of hard evidence to prove my case. So you are now faced with some extremely troubling new information about the nature of the world you live in. The question is, how best to respond to this new information? Well, certainly not with fear or panic or hatred and blame, because that won't do a damn thing to stop the ruling elites murdering a couple of billion of us.
That's a good point. You've got a good point.
There are only two ways you can do something that will help to stop the ruling elites murdering billions of people.
Oh, my listening.
One is to become a Blade Runner and spend your spare time disabling the tracking and targeting weapon systems they're planning on using on us, which you will find all over traffic lights wherever you live in the Western world. Cut. Two is to become a conscious, enlightened being like Ben, so that if your soul calls you to blade running, you become the most effective and protected Blade Runner in the world. Just like Ben, who I was fortunate enough to mentor for years and helped become the conscious, enlightened Blade Runner he is.
Real bad man.
Or if your soul calls you to fight the depopulation agenda in other ways, that is, by exposing the use of the COVID vaccine and boosters to either inject nanotech antennas into people so that they can be tracked and targeted, or to simply kill, disable, injure, or sterilize people directly, as the COVID vaccines have now been proven to have done to millions of people. Cut. Or to raise awareness that the digital IDs being rolled out all over the world and CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are part of the same AI-controlled global control grid as the tracking and targeting weapon systems Mark Steele has exposed.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
The problem with the activists and freedom fighters who are currently involved in this work is that very few of them are conscious, enlightened beings like Ben. So they are bringing all of their unconscious ego and shadow and fear projections to their work. This makes the work they do, which seems effective on the surface, ultimately self-defeating, self-sabotaging, and counterproductive.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
What the world needs is freedom fighters who have mastered themselves and can consequently use the power of the mirror principle to be the change they want to see in the world and thus actually change it.
Oh my God. I get it.
So if you want to be a man who is effective at helping to stop the murder of billions of human beings, including you and your family, by our satanic ruling elites, then I suggest you
Stop fucking around.
click the link in the description and immediately upgrade to premium membership so that you get access to the Way of Mastery Mastermind today and start getting mentored, guided, supported, encouraged, inspired, empowered, and loved into achieving Christ consciousness by yours truly and a badass, brave, and bonny band of brothers.
Gay!
Who are all there for the exact same reason you are, to save the world from a suboptimal future full of suffering by saving themselves from a suboptimal future full of suffering. Because why the fuck not? Can you honestly say that you've got something better to do with your life?
Hell no!
Brothers, free men of the world, I freely offer you this who you really are reminder mantra. Calling all free men of the West, the only way to save ourselves from the dystopian satanic nightmare of Loosh Farm Planet Earth 2.0 is to rise up now, to rise up in consciousness, from fear to love, and so awaken the non-dual truth of God's presence, bringing heaven to earth in the second coming of Christ consciousness.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that?
This is the truth that is always true.
That's the way you want to put it.
I don't have some way to put it. That's the way it is.
By saying it both silently in your head, as often as you remember,
That is not going to happen.
and saying it out loud,
What?
as often as you have the courage to master,
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Low class.
you will slowly or quickly remember who you really are.
Okay, I'm recusing myself from the situation. Thank you very much.
This is the truth that is always true. All I am ever doing and all I have ever done is extend God's love.
That's right, I said it!
Really?
All I am ever doing, all I have ever done is extend God's love.
That's right, I said it!
All I am ever doing, all I have ever done is extend God's love.
Oh my God. I get it.
That's right, I said it!
Oh, I see.
What did I just see? What did I just see?
You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Go.